Hello and welcome to The Joy of Writing. I'm your host, Mark Carew. In this series I will be talking to authors about the fun, the satisfaction, the joy they get from writing novels. It's a pleasure to talk with Sally Harris again, author of Haverscroft. I asked her about life post-publication and her approach to writing book 2. So, Sally, what have you been up to after the publication of Haverscroft last year?
Well, it was surprisingly busy. I anticipated there would be a book launch with great excitement, I think, as most writers do, and that followed very quickly after the publication day in May. But there were a lot of things that I hadn't anticipated. So I've done some events with other writers at SALT, which has been really good. An event with Amantha Harris in London when her book was coming out. And SALT were or are celebrating 20 years of publication, and they had an event at the National Centre for Writing to celebrate. That was last June. So there was me and 3 other SALT writers and Chris and Jen Hamilton-Emery, who were SALT. So that was good. That was really interesting. So we're lucky to have a lot of literary things in Norwich, like the National Centre for Writing and UEA are here. So it's quite a literary place.
Yes, the famous creative writing course at UEA.
It is, yeah. So
and Norwich is that a city, a literature festival city or something like that, or UNESCO city of literature?
UNESCO city. So it has been probably for about 10 years or so now. So there's quite a lot of literary things go on here, which helps. So things like that event at the Writers' Centre, lots of writers come together, or people that are just interested in it. So that's really lovely if you live locally. So that was a good event to do. Then one of the surprising things was the interest of libraries. We've got the Millennium Library, which is one of the big national libraries in Norwich. But a lot of the outer-lying libraries, the small country ones, such as where have I been to, things like Acle and places that a lot of people will not have heard of unless they're local in Norfolk and Suffolk, invite writers along, and you have quite an informal chat with people that are interested. They look at the book. Occasionally they'll buy a book even, but it's mostly just sort of to spread the word. But those are some of the nicest events. They've been very, very friendly, very relaxed. And I have to say, as a debut, I hadn't realised that was something that would happen. So they've been very...
It's a bit of a mystery, isn't it? And how did you take to them? Do you like public speaking and reading from your book and answering questions from the audience?
As a mixture, really. I have to say, if I just had to stand up and public speak, I would think, oh gosh, that's hideous. But actually, when it's come to discussing the book, I found it much easier and much more enjoyable. I still find it quite tricky reading from the book. I'm not sure why that is. I think it's quite exposing, really, isn't it, for a writer to put your work there. But question and answer sessions have worked really well and have been really good fun. The first one I did was at my launch. So I had a lady, Lindsay White, was originally a writing tutor, but she's a really good friend now. So she did the Q&A, and obviously she knew the book very well, she knows me very well, and that was a lot of fun and very, very early on with the launch. But I did one at Waterstones as well. That was in October, sort of around Halloween. Haverscroft's A Ghost Story. And again, that worked very well. That was someone from the UEA actually was doing the Q&A. So those are quite easy to do because you're not there on your own. You've got the person asking the question. And as long as they don't ask anything too tricky, that can be good fun.
And what did they ask you? What sort of things did they want to know, either about you or the book?
I work full time, so a lot of questions are about how on earth have you managed to write a novel, and what's the novel about, and why did you write a ghost story? Why is it set in Suffolk, which is from where I was born? So it's those general questions. and then the questions that go out to the audience, they can be absolutely, completely random. So yeah, you have to be on your toes a little bit with them.
That was my experience. You can get asked absolutely anything, which is quite fun. But that's great that it wasn't an ordeal. So you had plenty of these types of things, and then I suppose the more intense ones must have been the radio slots that you did.
Yes, I mean the first one I did was pre-recorded, which was purely luck because the ones that came after that were just done on the hoof as such. But suddenly, you're asked in your lunch hour from my full-time job to race up to Radio Norfolk and just do this slot with this radio chap you've heard of on the radio for years and years. But I have to say, I've done 3 different radio slots, and they've all been very different. But the 3 interviewers have all been lovely, really at pains to put you at ease.
Yeah.
It's also reassuring when you realise that they've done their research, they know a bit about you, they've read the book, and I've enjoyed them. With hindsight, if I were to do them again now, I'd relax and enjoy them far more because there isn't actually anything to be scared of. They're just there. They want that to go out as an interesting article for their readers to listen to. So again, that was a surprise. I enjoyed them far more than I would have anticipated.
That's very good. What was the impact of having published your debut novel on your life or your thinking or your general feeling about? I mean, how did you feel after it all had come about?
Well, because it's a long process, as you all know. So I knew, I think it was September, October time, that the book was going to come out in the May. So you've got that build-up and anticipation. And for me, certainly not really knowing what to expect that was coming, other than I would actually finally hold my book in my hand.
Yeah.
But once it comes out, I mean, the 2 weeks running up to it, I have to say I tried not to think too much about it because anxiety can run away with you that this book's going to go out there and everyone will hate it and you'll be drowning in terrible reviews. But once it was out and a few reviews came in and they were positive and it seemed to get sort of its own head of steam, it's just been a really lovely experience. I really have enjoyed the ride, and Salt, as you will know, do make it a really positive experience.
Right, definitely.
Yeah, and I've just
good.
Sort of wandered through Norwich. I live in the centre of Norwich and bumped into people who I've known for donkey's years, and they've come rushing up saying, I didn't know you had a book out, I didn't know you write. Yeah. And I've had conversations with people that I would never have had.
It's a lovely surprise to drop on someone, because they look at you in a completely different light now, and they go, wow, I just, their mouth falls open, which is just a lovely state to experience. But personally, getting your book done, and the debut novel, the first novel anybody ever gets published, is an occasion. Did it change anything about you? Did it alter any part of the road you're on, or was it just like, well, this is great, and then you're carrying on?
No, I think it does confirm that you can do it. I mean, all debuts, you're writing this thing probably for years and years, not knowing whether it will ever get out there, whether you're completely wasting your time.
Right.
So you get that confirmation that at least Salt thought it was good enough to put out there. And then, as readers like it, I mean, that's a lovely experience. Things that even on social media, people will just tweet and say, I loved your book. I think that's been a big thing for me, just confirmation that the story I've loved and lived with for so long has been validated, I suppose, in many ways.
It is a validation, isn't it? It's someone respected, and more than one person will be saying, yes, you've made it. The gate is opening, and you may walk through. Yeah. No,
it does feel a bit like that. You've sort of been bumping your head against this huge brick wall, and suddenly it does fall away, and you can sort of move on to the next stage of writing.
Yes, it's quite funny, isn't it? So the next stage of writing, and the question is, what are you writing now?
Well, I'm on a first draft of another novel, a ghost story again,
Yeah.
and this time set on the Suffolk coast. I'm about three-quarters of the way through now, so all the setup has been established. I mean, it's a very rough thing with holes in it and notes to me, and this
Sure.
doesn't work and whatever. But so yeah, I'm hoping to finish that last bit right at the end in the next couple of months.
What about writing a novel that you learnt first time round? Do you think you're bringing through now? Are you changing, altering any writing practices, the way you approach this?
Very differently, I would say. The first time round, and I still go to a writing group, and in fact we're Skyping tonight because we can't meet anymore.
Yeah, of course.
So we're meeting on Skype instead. But I got very much sort of stuck at the beginning, trying to make the first three chapters very beautiful and lovely and work wonderfully. Whereas this time round, I have really pushed myself just to write the story. And not get stuck at the beginning. So I've got about 65,000 words, I think now, what will be about 85,000 words. And that's taken me about 4 or 5 months to write. Whereas I would say that to get the full draft of the first novel probably took me 2 to 3 years because of all the fiddling about with getting it word perfect at the beginning.
Yeah, that's still quite an efficient time, it seems. Is that from conception to final draft?
Oh no, that would be. I mean, I've thought the idea through for a long time, probably 2 or 3 years,
Okay.
and had notes and all sorts going on. And this is only it's the first draft, so I've got things like, I know chapter 3, it says this conversation is rubbish and not working, so I couldn't possibly give it to anyone to read.
No.
It's very first draft for me, my eyes only, and then I'll go through it, and bits and pieces I know I've got to move around and all sorts, as you do with the first draft, really.
Oh yeah, all moves around. And do you leave it to sort of stew? I mean, is the way you write around the edges, you work full time and all of that, does that actually help in a way that you can split your mind into writing time and non-writing time, and somehow the writing time benefits from that?
It can do, particularly if you get stuck at a point, and you go off to work, because I think probably in the background you're not necessarily even aware of it. Your mind is still churning over those writing issues, and sometimes I'll walk to work or back, and suddenly you have that moment where you think, oh, for goodness sake, that's obviously how the novel should move forward. So it can help, but other times it can very much get in the way. What I do is very much sort of, my mind is busy at work all the time. So in the evening, I can come home and simply be mentally too tired to write, that can drive me absolutely crackers, really. But each writer's got to find their own time within their own life.
That's absolutely true. But did that frustration with not having the time to write, did that ever suggest to you, right, I'm cutting down my hours at work, or I'm booking a week away on a course, or just in a cottage somewhere? And
yeah, in fact, I did that in November.
Right.
Went to one of the Arbonne courses, the one up in Yorkshire, which was very lovely. And although you would say we've got a book out, you don't need to do a course, they've got quite a structured way of doing things. They have lessons in the morning, or meetings, should I say, if you want to go to them. And then afternoon and evening is free to write. And that just got me away from my very lovely family, who I love dearly.
Better put that in.
Just cracked on with the novel. I think I certainly got to the sort of the first 25% of it done. So it was moving forward by the time I left Yorkshire. In November, end of November, and then it had to wait to Christmas holiday for very much.
Yeah. These things, that's what it's like. It's quite sporadic, isn't it? So you've had trials and tribulations. It's interesting what you say about going for a walk and things suddenly resolve. And I found that so powerful for myself. It's a time to decompress, and yes, and then you get these ideas, like you say, oh, it's obvious. You know, suddenly something happens, and in your mind, and bang, there's the solution.
It's just, I think, just freewheels, doesn't it? Your mind, you're not doing any particular task, and so yeah, it's just all of these ideas come from I don't know where.
No, that's one of the questions you get asked the most, like, where do your ideas come from? And you honestly say, well, I have no idea. I mean, my best analogy at the moment, which I stole from someone, I can't remember who, is like the imagination's like a compost heap. You know, you feed it up with all sorts of scraps of this and that, and you know, one day you'll find something growing in it.
Yeah, I think that's a very good analogy, really, because you know, where do ideas come from? I suspect we absorb them from everywhere.
Part. Absolutely. Yeah. And one of the other nice things about writing, I think, lots of people have found, is that you're just more aware of a meaningful moment. Where you're going, oh, hello, I'm going to have that. I will record that mentally, this little thing that's going on. Or certainly when you're writing something and you're in that story universe, then you think, oh yes, that would fit perfectly. Does that happen to you, or is?
Oh, very, very much. There's a character, in fact, in Haverscroft who's quite a nice guy, but I needed it to make him come across as slightly unsettled and nervous. He's not a very confident chap. And I was aware of a lady that I work with, I certainly won't name her, who has a particular habit or tick, which she does constantly. And Mr. Whittle now does that throughout.
Okay.
And I don't think I would have thought of it myself. I just observed it on somebody else. But
yeah,
I think it does make you look at the world as well in a sharper way, because you maybe have to describe a landscape or a brick wall maybe or something. So I find that it sharpens the senses. You pay attention to all things going around you.
Oh, absolutely. Have you actually met any of your characters walking down the street or out and about, and you sort of pull yourself up short and you go, wow?
Yeah, that happened once in Marks and Spencer's. I was queuing to pay, and there was a little lady in front of me, an old lady, had her back to me, but she didn't have a walking stick as Mrs. Havers has, but she banged the conveyor belt because the chap on the till was taking a while. Said something to him, I couldn't catch her, but she turned round and spoke to me, and I just thought, oh my goodness, you are Mrs. Havers. She was immaculately dressed. And I was speechless for a little while, and after she'd gone, she's very friendly to me, I thought I should have photographed her.
I was going to say, you should have got a little snap there.
And said, you know, I'm afraid to say, whoever you are, you're not who you are. You're Mrs. Havers, and you're in my unpublished book, as it was at the time.
And that sounds like the start to book 3, to me.
Oh, really? Yes. Yeah.
Maybe, I don't know, or something. Who knows? I mean, ideas come and go, don't they? But I mean, that's fabulous. I mean, fantastic to talk to you about how all this works. I mean, the writing process is quite wide-ranging. Yet we do have all these commonalities, which is fascinating to hear about. So, I mean, I can see that book 2 is going to get done within, I don't know, how long do you need to finish it, do you think? Another year or less than a year?
I would definitely need another year, definitely. And people that don't write just look absolutely shocked, as if to say, well, why can't you get on with it? But if I'm saying a year, it's probably going to be longer than that, really. Depends how polished it needs to be before I can send it out, but my 2 writing groups are absolutely invaluable. So like this evening, there's a bit that's clearly first draft. It's going in to be discussed this evening, and you know, just to get a reaction from them, how the characters are working, and you know, what I hope is happening in that scene is coming forward. So I've got help at hand, but it does still take a long time.
Yes.
And I personally find I can't force it. So
no, that's the other thing to realise. It's such a strange process. It's not about writing 1,000 or 2,000 words a day, bang, and you're done. Yeah, it's quite a funny thing. But yes, great. Well, I mean, best of luck with it. I'm sure you're going to get this done. As you say, it's going to happen. And that's just fantastic news. And I'm glad you got a couple of writing groups who can sort of aid that process as well.
Yeah, because otherwise it can be very isolating process.
Yeah.
And it's good, I think, to speak to other writers to find out that they also have struggles and, you know, mind blocks and things, so that you know what you're doing is probably quite normal.
Yes, quite normal for writers.
Yes, yeah.
Brilliant. Thank you, Sally. It's been fantastic to talk to you. I'll be talking with Sally again when we will discuss advice she would give to budding writers and a review of a book that meant a lot to her.